Hey, thanks for checking out my channel. I'm John Stark from MacTheMovieGuy.com, and I deliver as promised. This is a review of Blade of the 47 Ronin. Yes, yesterday I went out of my way to finally watch for the first time Keanu Reeves' 47 Ronin because I saw that they made a sequel to it, and I was like, oh my god, I have to watch this sequel. And I did it with the intention that Blade of the 47 Ronin was going to be like Eraser Reborn, where it's just like there's a huge noticeable difference in quality of the films. And we'll get to that in a minute. I am a blind film critic, so I did watch this. This has audio description. Yes, they bothered to give audio description to this, which is amazing. Amazing. It was a good audio description. I did get distracted at the end, and sometimes I watch things while I'm working, and especially things I'm not like 100% invested in, I would say. Like the ones that I'm like, it's Blade of the 47 Ronin. I did the same thing with 47 Ronin, actually. I watched them while I was doing other things at work, and somebody came up to me and asked me something at the same time, and I missed the narrator because it was like right at the end of the movie, and somebody was like, oh, I have a question for you, and I was like, shit. And then when I came back on, I was like, oh fuck, I missed the narrator, damn it. It was in like a preview for like another Netflix series. I was like, anyway, I don't know who narrated this, and I didn't go back through the whole credits to try to find who the narrator was, but whoever did, it's really good narration, actually. It's well made. It's very descriptive. It treats it just like this was a normal film. Good. That's what you're supposed to do. Congratulations. It was the action is there. Lots of people get decapitated in this. They go for it. They're like, you know what? It doesn't matter. We're not in theaters. I don't have Keanu Reeves. We're just going to decapitate people. Fun. So we got all that in the audio description. But I also fully acknowledge for the sighted viewers that this is the kind of film that could look terrible. That the visual effects could look unfinished. That the stunt fight choreography could be shot in one of the worst ways possible. I understand that for you guys, this film might look ridiculous. But for me, unfortunately, I can't see poor cinematography anymore, so I can't comment on it, but I know what straight-to-video sequels generally look like, having seen before previously in my lifetime. So I acknowledge that. But I have to review what I get as a blind film critic, which puts me in a very interesting spot, because I thought this film was hilarious. Not necessarily in the way that it wants to be, but kind of in the way that it wants to be. So Blade of the 47 Ronin, they obviously couldn't spend $200 million on a sequel, so they threw that out the window, and they're like, how can we save money? And they're like, well, first of all, we could just not set it in the past. And they were like, done. So it's set in present day. They're like, secondly, we can shoot this locally and not, in feudal Japan. So they dropped all of the lovely, diverse Japanese actors that were in the first film that I talked about. I was like, hey, it's really great to see the commitment to casting local Japanese talent. You don't see a whole lot of Americanized versions of names. No, that's all gone. There's like maybe like one guy I noticed on IMDb where I was like, maybe he's not from here. Everyone else is like some of them just don't even have names that sound remotely like they came from the continent of Asia. I have no idea what this film looks like diversity-wise. I think we just gentrified the franchise and moved on. But it's about how there's some prophecy, and they're killing off the last remaining descendants of the 47 Ronin, and there's this guy that everybody thinks is the last descendant, and there's this big fight, And the evil guy in this film is, after he dispatches him in the opening scene, he's like, "There's still one more." Like, you can feel it. And then like there's like this mystery. It's like, who is it? And it's this girl who cannot be bothered, and I love it. I mean, cannot be bothered. She's like Aubrey Plaza's character on Parks and Rec for referential points. She's they didn't just go with somebody who's like just like a damsel in distress. They went for the sarcastic one, the one who's like, ugh, do I have to? Oh my God. You know, like, it's a huge inconvenience for her to do everything. And she has so many quips and one-liners after things happen, because everything that happens around her is super serious. And then she finishes it with these, like, really kind of stupidly hilarious reactions to things. I remember one time she was with one of her protectors, and the protector saves her from a ninja and decapitates the ninja, because there's a lot of decapitation in this film. And and like they go to leave, and she's like, "Are you just gonna leave a decapitated body here? Like, what else would you do with it? Like, what do you? I don't. What did you want the next scene to be you and him disposing of a decapitated body? And then like later on, there's a scene where like they go to this special place, right? And it's a place of significance. And she's like, so this place is just where high schoolers go to score weed? Like, and every single one of her reactions is something like that. One of the guys has like a prophecy and his eyes turn blue, and he's like about to, and she's just like, "Dude, are you okay?" She's so hilarious. I don't know if the actress was that good, but all of whoever wrote her, the perfection. Whoever wrote her quips, it's exactly what a film like this needs, because if it takes itself too seriously, like Eraser Reborn did, you don't have the cast. This cast is not full of good actors. This cast is not, it's not there. The plot is fine, considering you jumped 300 years into the future, but it's fine, I guess. As far as the story goes, the general plot, like kill the last of the descendants of the 47 Ronin, it seems like we missed something in between. But hey, I get it. We couldn't get Keanu back. So, it kind of starts in a weird way where it feels like you should have seen 47 Ronin. I'll acknowledge that. The way that it talks and the way that it sets up this universe, it sets it up assuming that the only people who would want to watch this film watched 47 Ronin, which is kind of a negative thing, especially for a sequel to not to just make that assumption for a film that is 9 years out from its sequel, to just kind of pick up where you left off, but yet you're not in the same timeline, it's not the same cast. It's just, it really tries really hard to act like this is like a legitimate direct sequel to 47. Like, this is what they always planned. Like, they always planned to make a film with Keanu Reeves, and then they planned to film a sequel with Mark Dacascos, however we say his name. I always see his name and it always appears in like straight to video shit. Like, he never actually I don't know if he's ever anchored anything that went theatrical. I don't know how he has a career, but he's been around forever. I've seen his name in tons of things, but I think they're all straight to video type content. But I actually had a decent time with this. I actually had a better time with this than 47 Ronin. And that's the rub here. I know what this is. I know this is a shitty straight-to-video sequel. They probably spent $10 million on. They hired a cast of nobodies. And they didn't overthink it. And I think that's why this film works. And 47 Ronin, I felt like, was bogged down by all of this. It had like 1,000 things going on at the same time. It felt like it had to incorporate, tons and tons of backstory and exposition to try to get you to understand the film. But the action scenes were epic. They were way more epic than this. The action scenes in this film are just like, how quickly can I get to a decapitation? And they use magic in this film in a different way than they did in the first film. They use it like they're members of the X-Men. It's very bizarre, but yeah. So I mean, there are very stark contrasts into the approach of the world of 47 Ronin and what they do. Two totally different time periods, two totally different casts. These are two very different films. This film should have been shittier. The fact that I'm talking to you positively about a film that I watched assuming would be terrible, I found enjoyment in, and I don't really know what to do with that, because I still am not convinced that this is actually a good film, but I feel like I have to give it a thumbs up because I did enjoy watching it. And I don't think many critics would do that. I don't think many critics are going to be like, yeah, I had fun with that, surprisingly. So let me give Blade of the 47 Ronin a good score. But that's exactly what I'm going to do. So, fuck it, So after all of that, we come to the grade, and I'm going to do it. I'm going to give Blade of the 47 Ronin a B-. I gave 47 Ronin a C+. I actually enjoyed this a little bit more, largely because it's hilarious in many parts. The main girl, Ruby, played by Anna Kana, I don't know who that is. Hilarious. Just every 5 minutes I was laughing out loud. I was like, oh my God. Because the tone shift, when you have every character around her is taking it totally seriously. It felt like Beverly Hills Ninja, like where you take Chris Farley and you put him into a film and like everyone else is serious, and then you're like, Chris Farley's a ninja? Or Kung Fu Panda or something like that. And it feels like one of those fish out of water movies, but instead of it being like a giant fat dude trying to do karate, it's like an annoyed teenager, like the sarcastic, like Instagram model or something. Like, I can't be bothered with this. Perfection. It was the right way to go for this sequel because it made it interesting. If they'd gone with somebody who was just timid and afraid and been like, I can't do this, oh my God, it's too much for me, then that would have just been what every other sequel does, where they take somebody who's overwhelmed by the experience. But no, she's just not having it. She's just like, I'm not the right person for this. It's a completely different tone, and that's what made it work. So anyway, if you stuck with me this long, or if you even bothered to click on this review at all, you must like me a little bit. So, and as you can see, I will review a film. I will review any film, and I will give you my honest opinion of it. Even if it means me looking like a jackass to the rest of the community of critics. I know that right now, if I submitted myself for Rotten Tomatoes and they clicked on my review of Blade of the 47 Ronin, they'd be like, he gave it a B-. We're not putting this dude in Rotten Tomatoes. Could you imagine? No. But you could subscribe to me because I will always give you my honest opinion on a film. Yeah. I also have a website, MacTheMovieGuy.com. I have a Twitter at MacTheMovieGuy. I have, you can go to the audio description project, adp.acb.org. It'll let you know what has audio description and where you can watch it. And you can go to the adna.org. That's the adna.org. And you can look up your favorite movies and TV shows and see who's behind the scenes on your audio description there. Anyway, that's all from me today. Thanks for checking me out. I got to go review something else for you guys, but I will see you on the other side.